Good morning. About 5,500 children who were split from their parents under former President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance border policy, which had parents separated from their kids to face criminal prosecution for crossing the border illegally, are now seeking permanent legal status and a cash payment for as much as $450,000 per person to settle a lawsuit. The payments are intended to compensate for the psychological trauma. Democrats have been quiet on the issue. When asked about it, President Joe Biden ignored the question and scratched his head. Republicans across the board have expressed outrage that the Biden administration is considering paying reparations to illegal immigrants and paying more money than insurance pays to the family of fallen service members. Your calls are welcome at 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. But we begin this morning with Congresswoman Lisa McClain from the 10th District. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing well. The President Joe Biden decided not to comment when asked about this issue, but a lot of people are talking about it.
Yes, they are, and perhaps that's a good sign that he's not commenting. I take that, right now we're playing defense, and what I think is a no comment might be that he even realizes that this doesn't make a lot of logical sense for the taxpayers and the American citizens. So that's my hope with that. I mean, at the end of the day, let's remember a couple things. We have a debt of over $30 trillion, and we're going to pay people who actually broke the law to get here. They broke the law, and we're going to pay them almost $500,000. Why wouldn't we take those dollars, one, if we had them? Wouldn't those dollars be better prioritized perhaps with military service members? We have a lot of homeless vets right now who actually didn't break the law. They actually put their life on the line to protect us. Logically, I have yet to have one Democrat or one person articulate to me how this logically makes sense.
Well, if a legal citizen is arrested breaking the law and then their rights are violated or they're maybe assaulted by a police officer or something, they do get paid occasionally in lawsuits. They're breaking the law.
Kevin, I think you said two really important things: legal and sometimes. I think you used the word sometimes. Occasionally, you said occasionally. So we're talking about illegal people that cross the border. And listen, what you said, which I think you're spot on, is, occasionally when our American citizens get victimized, occasionally they get compensated for it. We're not talking about occasionally. We're talking about everyone. This isn't your occasional illegal immigrant that crossed the border. So I think those are two very important concepts that we need to differentiate. And at the end of the day, illegals on the backs of our children and our grandchildren. I would prefer to put my children first and my grandchildren first. And the other thing is, if we don't stop this free money train and we don't stop incentivizing, this illegal immigration is not going to stop anytime soon.
That's the other part of this, though. The money is outrageous. It's 5,500 people each collecting $450,000 is a massive strain on our deficit. But the other issue is this possibility of giving them permanent legal status. I think that may be something the Biden administration is more interested in.
Well, and there again, what I would argue is, what about all the people that came in legally? Why do those people get to jump the line? Can someone explain that rationale to me? Again, I've yet to heard a logical argument on why, if you come in illegally, we're going to grant you permanent status. If you've done everything legal, I'm sorry, you have to wait in the back of the line. Go to the grocery store and wait in line and be the 10th person in line, and then have somebody cut the line with a full cart. I guarantee you're going to be irritated. That's exactly what we're doing here. Again, what is the logic behind that? Why can't we put American citizens first? Why can't we put our children, our grandchildren first? Because remember, to pay $450,000, almost $500,000 per person, we have to first take that money from somebody else because the government produces nothing. They don't produce $1. So we first have to take that dollar from a taxpayer who's worked hard to earn money, to pay taxes, to give to somebody who has come through our border illegally in front of our kids and in front of the people who've come through legally. Explain that concept of how that puts Americans first.
Do you believe that there's an intentional effort to allow more people to come through the border illegally so that there eventually will be more people with permanent residency, more people allowed to vote, and likely those people might be likely Democrats? Do you think that's an intentional effort?
I really don't want to believe that, but the facts sure do point that in that direction.
When you talk about the amount of money that's being spent and where it should be spent, you can't help come back to Build Back Better and the vote that will probably take place this week. What are your thoughts on increasing the amount of spending in Build Back Better?
I think it's a horrible idea. First of all, let me start with we need infrastructure, right? I need to get my oil changed. But I've used this example before. If I told my husband, honey, I'm going to get an oil change, and I come back with a new Ferrari, I don't think those are in the same realm. When 10% of the infrastructure bill covers roads, bridges, waterways, 10%, that leaves 90% of pork and socialist wish list stuff. That doesn't make any sense. Let's build. If we're gonna make America better, let's fix the roads. Let's fix the bridges. But let's do it responsibly, right? Let's do it with some thought that at some point in time we have to pay this back. And I'll be honest, my fingers are crossed. I hope and I believe that there's enough moderate Democrats out there that realize that spending $3.5 trillion isn't, and I know that's the reconciliation, but remember, we got to vote on both bills. That's what the socialists are saying. We're not voting on infrastructure unless we vote on the reconciliation. And I have to believe, is what you've seen over the past 5 deadlines in which they've missed, they don't have the votes for it because they even know that it's wrong.
All right. Congresswoman Lisa McClain, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Enjoy the sunshine today.
All right. We certainly will.